Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, uncharted wilderness. The path ahead is unclear, filled with twists and turns, obstacles and challenges. This wilderness represents your journey through life. And the terrain you must navigate is filled with opportunities for both success and failure. But here's the thing, failure isn't the enemy you've been led to believe it is. In fact, failure might just be the best friend you never knew you needed. Let's talk about failure. It's a word that often strikes fear into our hearts. We've been conditioned to avoid it at all costs, to see it as the opposite of success, as something shameful and to be hidden away. But what if I told you that failure is not just normal, but necessary? What if failure is actually the secret ingredient to achieving your dreams and living a fulfilling life? Think about it for a moment. Every great success story is built on a foundation of failures. The most successful people in the world in business, in sports, in the arts, in any field you can imagine have all faced failure, often multiple times before achieving their goals. And failure isn't the end of the road, it's a stepping stone on the path to success. Let's consider some examples. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each failure brought him closer to his ultimate success. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, was rejected by multiple publishers before her books became a global phenomenon. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the company he co-founded, before returning years later to lead it to unprecedented success. These stories aren't exceptions, they're the rule. Success is rarely, if ever, a straight line. It's a winding path filled with ups and downs, twists and turns, and yes, failures. But here's the crucial point: these failures weren't roadblocks, they were learning opportunities. They were chances to grow, to adapt, to become better. When we reframe failure in this way, it loses its power to intimidate us. Instead of something to be feared, failure becomes a tool for growth. It's like a GPS recalculating your route when you take a wrong turn. It doesn't mean you won't reach your destination, it just means you need to adjust your path. But let's be honest, failure doesn't feel good in the moment. It can be painful, disappointing, and discouraging. It's natural to feel upset when things don't go as planned. The key is not to let these feelings define you or stop you from moving forward. Remember, failure is an event, not a person. You are not a failure because you failed at something. You are a person who experienced a setback, learned from it, and is now better equipped to face future challenges. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall down countless times, but do we call them failures? Of course not. We encourage them, we celebrate their efforts, and we know that each fall is bringing them closer to success. Why should we treat ourselves any differently as adults? Every failure is a step towards success if we choose to learn from it. Let's dive deeper into why failure is so valuable. First and foremost, failure is an incredible teacher. It shows us what doesn't work, which is just as important as knowing what does work. When we fail, we gain first-hand experience that no book, lecture, or second-hand account can provide. This knowledge is invaluable and often leads to innovative solutions and new ways of thinking. Failure also builds resilience. Each time we fall and get back up, we become stronger. We develop the mental and emotional toughness to face future challenges. This resilience is like a muscle. The more we use it, the stronger it becomes. People who have faced and overcome failure are often better equipped to handle future setbacks and challenges. Moreover, failure keeps us humble and grounded. It reminds us that we're human, that we don't have all the answers, and that there's always more to learn. This humility can make us more open to feedback, more willing to collaborate with others, and more adaptable in the face of change. In a world that's constantly evolving, these qualities are invaluable. Failure also helps us clarify our goals and values. When we fail at something, it forces us to reevaluate. Is this really what we want? Is it worth trying again? Sometimes failure can redirect us towards a path that's better aligned with our true passions and strengths. Many people have found their true calling only after failing at something else. But perhaps one of the most powerful aspects of failure is how it can inspire and motivate us. When we've tasted failure, success becomes even sweeter. The story of the underdog who overcomes adversity to achieve greatness is universally inspiring because it reflects a fundamental truth about the human spirit, our capacity to persevere, to learn, to grow, and ultimately to succeed. So how can we change our relationship with failure? How can we embrace it as a friend rather than fear it as an enemy? It starts with a shift in mindset. Instead of seeing failure as the end, see it as a beginning. Each failure is the start of a new lesson, a new opportunity, a chance to grow and improve. When you encounter failure, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to become better? What would I do differently next time? This reflective practice turns failure from a negative experience into a positive learning opportunity. It's also important to separate your self-worth from your failures. You are not defined by your failures any more than you are defined by your successes. You are a complex, multifaceted individual with inherent worth, regardless of your achievements or setbacks. Remembering this can help you maintain perspective and resilience in the face of failure. Another powerful strategy is to reframe failure as feedback. When something doesn't work out as planned, it's not a judgment on you as a person, it's simply information. It's the universe giving you feedback on your approach. Use this feedback to adjust your strategy, refine your skills, or pivot your direction. It's also crucial to celebrate your efforts, not just your outcomes. When you take a risk, when you try something new, when you push yourself out of your comfort zone, that's worth celebrating, regardless of the result. By valuing effort and courage, you create an environment where failure loses its sting and becomes just another step in the journey. Remember, too, that failure is often a numbers game. The more you try, the more you'll fail, but also, the more you'll succeed. Many successful people attribute their achievements not to avoiding failure, but to failing more often than others. They simply tried more things, took more risks, and as a result, had more opportunities for both failure and success. It's also worth noting that our fear of failure often holds us back more than failure itself. How many dreams have gone unpursued? How many ideas have remained unexplored simply because of the fear of failing? By embracing failure as a natural and necessary part of the journey, we free ourselves to take risks, to innovate, to live more fully and authentically. Consider, too, the role of failure in innovation and progress. Many of the world's greatest inventions and discoveries came about as a result of failure. Penicillin, one of the most important medical discoveries of the 20th century, was the result of a failed experiment. The Post-it note was born from a failed attempt to create a super strong adhesive. X-rays were discovered by accident. These examples remind us that failure often leads to unexpected and valuable outcomes. In our professional lives, failure can be particularly daunting. We worry about how it will affect our careers, our reputations, our livelihoods. But the most innovative and successful companies understand the value of failure. They create cultures that not only tolerate failure, but encourage it as a means of learning and growth. They know that a fear of failure stifles creativity and innovation, while embracing failure leads to breakthroughs and progress. In our personal lives, too, failure plays a crucial role in our growth and development. Failed relationships teach us about ourselves and what we need in a partner. Financial setbacks teach us valuable lessons about money management. Personal shortcomings reveal areas where we can improve and grow. Each failure, if we approach it with the right mindset, makes us wiser, stronger, and more resilient. It's important to remember that failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success. It's a necessary step on the path to achieving our goals. Think of failure as the sandpaper that smooths out our rough edges, the fire that tempers our resolve, the resistance that builds our strength. Without it, our successes would be hollow, our achievements less meaningful. But let's be clear, embracing failure doesn't mean seeking it out or being careless. It doesn't mean not trying our best or not caring about the outcome. It means giving our all, taking calculated risks, and then being willing to learn and grow from whatever results. It means understanding that our worth is not determined by our successes or failures, but by our willingness to keep moving forward, to keep learning, to keep growing. As we navigate life's challenges, it's also important to surround ourselves with people who understand and value the role of failure and success. Seek out mentors who can share their own stories of failure and resilience. Connect with peers who are also on a journey of growth and are not afraid to take risks. Create a support system that encourages you to try, fails, learn, and try again. Remember, too, that your attitude towards failure not only affects you but also influences those around you. By embracing failure as a learning opportunity, you create an environment where others feel safe to take risks and push their boundaries. You become a leader who inspires innovation and growth, rather than fear and stagnation. As we wrap up this exploration of failure, I want you to think about a recent failure you've experienced. Maybe it was a project that didn't work out, a goal you didn't achieve, or a relationship that ended. Now I want you to look at that failure through this new lens. What did you learn from it? How did it make you stronger? How can you use that experience to propel you forward? Imagine if you approached every failure this way. Imagine if, instead of being defeated by setbacks, you saw them as opportunities. Imagine if, instead of being paralyzed by the fear of failure, you were energized by the possibility of growth and discovery. How would your life change? What might you achieve? The truth is, failure is not your enemy. It's not something to be feared or avoided. It's a teacher, a guide, a crucial part of your journey to success and fulfillment. Embrace it, learn from it, grow through it. Let it shape you into the strongest, wisest, most resilient version of yourself. Remember, every great success story is also a story of failure overcome. Your failures don't define you, how you respond to them does. So go forth boldly, take risks, push your boundaries, and when you fail, because you will fail, we all do, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, learn the lesson, and keep moving forward. Your greatest successes, your most profound growth, and your most meaningful achievements lie on the other side of failure.
Subscribe for more videos.